Hey friends, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for listening and sharing space with me, letting me come into your earbuds or however you're listening to today's episode. Let's talk a little bit about how growth doesn't show up in a highlight reel. It's not always about the highlight reel. It's not always about the last post or the latest blog or a celebration at a network meeting. No, friends, growth often shows up as sleepless nights, hard decisions, uncomfortable conversations, and those moments where quitting feels easier than continuing. But yet every single moment, I want you to think about this, every single moment that you have been pushed, that you have felt your back against the wall, where you thought to yourself, I don't know if I should go on. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I should find something else to do. This isn't going the way that I planned. I know for me, every time I have had that belief where it's been in a relationship or I came to the end of a story or a chapter, or I'm in a different season in my business, I can look back and say, wow, that was worth it. I can sit here today and tell you that even struggling with Parkinson's disease and now being diagnosed for just almost a year, and the difference when I was going through I was going through before I had the diagnosis and now, it's a struggle. And there are days that I can do zip. My mind is wandering worse than it does with my learning differently and my attention span. And there's just days that my body says, my gosh, you're not moving today. And I have to be grateful for my career, my 42-year career, being able to tell a story. But man, do I miss that. I miss having that camera in my hand. I miss sharing someone else's excitement, someone else's joy, and even capturing those private, quiet moments, those ending moments that I was privileged to do. But I know that it's worth it. I know that whatever I'm going through in this growth, and I guess Parkinson's disease has to be a growth in my chapter, my life story, I'm going to know that it's going to be worth it because I've shifted and I've changed and I've pivoted. And I've always valued life, and I always believe that life is worth living. You know, the saying is, you get one life and then you die. How about we live and get one death, right? Let's live our life full. I've always been that person. I've always been that person that says, take the trip, eat the dessert first. And so even with Parkinson's and disease and having to shift my role and it's affected my speaking schedule. I can't go out as much as I want to go because I'm just not stable enough. Truth be told, there are days that my wobbly is there. Now, I'm not as advanced as where I probably will be, they say, in 4 to 5 years. So I look at it the same way I look at everything else. This is the chapter I'm in, and I'm going to write the best damn story with the pen in my hand and what was dealt with me that I can. And that's really what I want to talk about a little bit today. Not because anything is easy, but because growth never leaves you where it found you. So today, let's have that kind of conversation where maybe you're just listening, but then the conversation is amongst yourself, where while we are not going back and forth in this conversation, hopefully my gentle voice, my slowing down voice, part of my Parkinson has made my voice quieter. So you're going to hear more cracks. You're going to hear more intonations that are different than my normal learning differently and my speech impediment. Parkinson's, this is the part of Parkinson's that has affected me in a different way that it does others. It affects everybody differently. But the conversation today is listen and then intentionally listen and have the conversation with yourself. Because I don't think we talk about this enough in our personal and professional development space. We are afraid to talk about growth and the bad part of growth, but we'll talk about the success of growth. And if you know me at all, you know that I believe and understand and fully commit to you cannot have a win without a loss. You cannot get up if you do not fall down, right? So let's talk a little bit about the day. An intentional conversation. I'm going to share a little bit. Then I want you to hit pause if you need to, and then have that conversation with yourself. The truth about what growth really looks like and why even when it's messy, exhausting, and lonely, my friends, it is always, always worth it. That's where we are today, episode 109, the hard truth about growth and why it's always worth it. So as they say, let's dive in. Let's not delay. Let's talk about the reality check. What growth really feels like. We glamorize growth. We put it on social media. We talk about it in success, or we give awards and we share our awards, and we all are deserving of our awards. And that is growth. But let's remember too that real growth is often disguised as discomfort, uncertainty, feeling like a beginner again, and grieving the old version of yourself, because while you are trying to push through and have that next level of whatever it is, success, however you want to define it, you also sometimes go, man, I don't even know myself anymore. I can't remember why I started. What was my why of starting? This is when the doubts come in, that negative self-talk and all that noise. So let's take a mindset shift for a minute. Let's shift that mindset. Growth is not supposed to feel easy. It is supposed to stretch us, to push us, to expand us. Let me share a story about Jess. Jess started out as a custom invitation designer, and she built a beautiful business. She gained traction early, and she became quite well known in the industry for that high-end detail work that if you're a photographer, you know you love the raised invitations and things that you can put in one of those lay flats or flat lays and really make it stand out. So she had that reputation for delivering that oh moment, whether it's an event, a baby shower, a graduation, whatever it is. When you hire Jess's company, it set the tone. From the envelope to when you opened inside, it set the tone. But on the outside, she looked very successful. She was booked all the time. She had a wait list. And of course, she had a gorgeous website and just knew she was constantly growing. And her social media always looked like it was full of happiness and busyness. But inside, man, she was exhausted because she was spending more time managing the small client edits and feeling drained by the pressure to stay luxury than actually creating from joy. Which, if you be honest with yourself, when you first started, you said, I'll do this for nothing. I will do this for free as long as I can keep doing this because this is my passion and I just love it. And I will do this for free. And then what happens is, you have to make profit, you want to have a purpose, and you want to find joy, right? 3 things we talk about here all the time. And so that becomes hard because the more popular you get, the more recognizable you get, the more people expect from you and demand from you. And so tiny edits become tedious. It's that, the old saying, if you never work a day, you'll never work a day in your life if you're passionate about what you do and you love what you do. Well, we know that saying isn't true. You work sometimes even harder because that passion drives you to become bigger and better, and people expect more for you. And then it becomes a chore. Then what you do, how you do, and doing what you love becomes a job and a chore. So Jess told herself for years, she should be grateful. I've built this from the ground up. I put my blood, sweat, and tears in this. People know me for what I bring to detail. People know me for my little quirks and my extras. But the truth, she had outgrown it. And every time she thought about pivoting or do something different, the fear crept in. What if no one will follow along on my journey? What if no one will hire the new Jess? What if no one wants the revamped Jess? What if no one wants the new thing that I want to create? A new way that I want to deliver stationery, a new way that I want to share my creativity. What if she loses what she built? Jess actually said to herself, what if I lose everything? Because I'm ready to step away from it and build something new. Eventually, she did start listening to that nudge. Instead of blowing up her business, she began experimenting with small offers that brought her joy. She started creating low offers, digital art, creative workshops, collaborative pop-ups, things that didn't require that high-end luxury pressure of getting everything right, dotting every I and crossing every T with gold foil or something extra fancy. The part that was paying her bills, that work, she was growing tired of. So she needed to remember her joy and her passion in her painting, in her calligraphy, in her word fonts, in her wordsmithing. She needed to find a different way. Her creative outlet was some of those creative workshops and those collaborative pop-ups where on a Friday evening she went to another small business and she created something fun and different and we painted together, or you came in and made little canvas squares. She worked on things like that and she was happy. Not big profitable. She wasn't making a ton of money, but the smile on her face and the growth in her heart and watching others learn and blossom from the experience of something she could help them create brought her so much joy. And slowly but surely, she realigned her brand. And with it, she realigned her energy. And she didn't lose anything. In fact, she gained something even better, a business that finally felt like hers again. So if you're in a season like Jess's, where things look good on the outside, but don't feel quite aligned with you on the inside, you've lost that spark, you don't have that effort, that want to get up in the morning and you're fired up and you're ready to start your day, I want you to know this. Joy is not optional. It is, in fact, a strategy. And if you don't have to blow everything up to build it, you don't have to revamp everything. You just got to build little parts of it. Add little outsides. Add little extra buildings to say to your business. You got a foundation. Just, it's strong. So you know what? Build another level. Build something up. And if you have to maybe shut down the bottom level for a while because you're overwhelmed and you're burnt out, then let what you're building on story 2 or the second story become something you put your energy and your time in. Because if you don't feel aligned on the inside, you're going to burn out quickly. And then you're going to lose your profit. And then you'll lose your purpose. And then you're going to lose your joy. So you don't have to build something better. Just build it differently. And you never know, that building differently might just, in fact, be better. You have to start listening to what feels right and start moving in that direction. So I hope that you can see, or in this case here, that this Jess's story reinforces the pivots can be profitable. But more importantly, when you pivot, they should also feel good. The takeaway here, listeners, is growth doesn't always feel like progress in the moment that we're in. Sometimes it feels like a huge loss. But when you gain on the other side of that loss is the version of yourself that you never met before. It was just waiting for you. It knows the time you put in. It knows the blood, sweat, and tears that you put in. It knows the sleepless nights. It knows the conversation. It knows the relationships that you probably damaged on the way to building your creative space, whatever your entrepreneurship is, whatever business that you've built. You've lost some things along the way, and you've lost people along the way. So you need to be ready to meet that person on the other side. That's you. That's your future self. Everything that you're doing now is waiting just to improve. In a good way, prove differently. Is it more profitable? Pivots can be profitable, my friends, and you can help reignite your passion and your purpose and your joy. So let's talk a little bit about why most people resist growth and they stay stuck. Growth requires you to let go of something. Let go of something that's holding you back. Even if that's what's holding you back is what's causing your burnout, you got to let it go. You can't be afraid of putting it on the shelf or closing the door on the first story and having a grand opening on the second story. You have to let it go. You cannot move forward if you don't let it go. Face your fears. Don't be worried about what happens if I set this over here. Just park it. You can always come back to it, but don't be afraid to park it. And then lots of times we don't grow and we stay stuck because we're afraid of being misunderstood. Oh my gosh, my clients are going to go, what are you doing? I want the same thing I had a few years ago. I'm a repeat client. Why don't I have the same opportunities? Every year I see you for our spring party or our Christmas party invitations. I want that. And then new clients are going to be like, I don't know what this person's talking about. I don't know what you're trying to show me. I came to you off a referral because in Jess's case, you did wonderful invitations that were different. Maybe you are somebody who's on an online space who sells templates to help people have better sales strategies. Maybe you're a photographer that offers branding along with behind the scenes for every story that you tell. Maybe you're a realtor and you do open houses with video tours that talk and showcase what a family looks like in there. And you're afraid that people won't understand you. And then also, you're afraid to release control. We resist growth because comfort feels familiar. Fear of the unknown screams louder than the belief in possibility. Let me say that again. Fear of the unknown screams louder than belief in possibility. And then we're afraid of what people will say if we make a change. Heck with making ourselves happy. Heck with making ourselves not being, burned out. Heck with some self-care. We are so afraid of what others will think about us if we make a change that we stay stuck. So I'm going to ask you to shift your mindset here. Staying stuck is a choice. But my friend, so is moving forward. So is moving forward. Because burnout and brave curiosity can be aligned joy. Entrepreneurs, this will help you in your journey. It mirrors the journey of burnout. Be curious about something else. Be curious about what if I do this? What if I park what I'm doing over here and I just rearrange or realign, or I revisit something that maybe I parked over here and it didn't fit. Maybe now it fits. Maybe now something else that you designed. Let's just say you started your business and you had 4 or 5 ideas and somebody told you niche it down, niche it down, niche it down. Maybe it's time to bring one of those other ideas out, showcase it, put it on display. What is the worst that can happen? You're already burnt out. Be brave. Be curious. Go bring something new in. Try something that you already had. Revamp something that maybe failed the first time around, or create something totally new. This is how you will find aligned joy. There's always going to be a reason to stay safe. Growth asks you to believe in something bigger than your comfort zone. My friends, there's always going to be a reason to stay safe. The hard truths about growth and what to do with them: you're going to outgrow people, and you're going to outgrow routines and parts of your own identity. This is a fact. These are some of the things that you will outgrow. This is the hard truths about growth. You're going to outgrow people, routines, and part of yourself. Be okay. Evolve. The goal isn't to stay exactly where you are and to stay the same. It's to expand. And you notice I didn't say to be more or do more. If you are firmly rooted where you are and you are planted and you are happy and joyful, continue to do that. But even if you stay where you are because it's bringing you profit, purpose, and joy, do you understand you're still going to expand and grow? That you can't stay exactly the same. Life happens for us. Life happens for us, not just to us. So as we move along and we change, as happy as we might be, rooted exactly where you are, be blessed where your feet rest. Even if you are that person, you're still going to grow and change. Be okay to evolve. Be okay as you evolve, because you're going to expand. I want you to ask yourself, what version of me no longer aligns with who I'm becoming? What version of me no longer aligns with who I'm becoming? And then growth often feels like failure first. That launch flopped. Man, that digital product I created, horrible. Man, crickets. Nobody liked it. Just because there's crickets doesn't mean somebody didn't like it. It just means maybe how you presented it or how you wrote the sales page, it didn't hit with somebody. Maybe it didn't solve a problem that somebody was looking for. But I want you to applaud yourself for making an effort to knowing that you had something that you were trying to use to help get value out to somebody else, right? The quiet when you make a change. Nobody's listening. Again, those crickets. The doubts after saying yes to doing something. You're like, oh my gosh, I said yes to this. I said yes to this new project. It challenged me. It got my creative soul flowing again. My juices, my spark was reignited. And then crickets. Don't be afraid of that, because you might think at first that resembles failure. Growth isn't a buildup. It gets stronger the more that you do it. Repetition. The more you do it, the more it builds up. Growth is one of those things. The more you have it out there, the more times you throw it to the universe, the more answers you'll get in the timely manner. You can grow and still have days that feel hard. Joy and discomfort can coexist, my friends. If you be honest with yourself right now and you aren't driving, you raise your hand if you're walking the dog or whatever, you are actually probably saying, I have joy and I have discomfort. They do coexist. The seasons that you're in business and life will have more joy sometimes and more discomfort. We're always looking for that harmony. And sometimes, my friends, you're just going to have seasons that are more joyful and more their discomfort. How can we marry those together? Find more harmony for yourself, but not every day. But that you come to peace, that you're happy with what you're doing in your personal life, that you're happy with your business life, and you're happy in your business life, and you're happy in your personal life. And they go back and forth, highs and the lows, the roller coaster of entrepreneurship. It's okay, because in both of those situations, you're growing. And along the line, you are going to outgrow people, and you're going to outgrow yourself, as we talked about. Growth isn't linear, but it is directional. The hardest parts of growth are usually where your next breakthrough is hiding. It can be a personal breakthrough. It can be a professional breakthrough. And you don't even know that it's there. But that sometimes is why burnout knocks on the door, or why a window gets open in your foundation of your business. There's a crack, because it's time to expand, because you're outgrowing where you are. Maybe not so much financially, but personally, you're not happy with where you are anymore, and you need something to challenge you. Let's be honest. Again, raise your hand as you're walking if you're not driving, that you feel like you're working really, really hard and you're not making any more money, and your weekends are away or your evenings are away, and you're missing time with your family. You didn't go on that family vacation, or you had to go away for a weekend retreat to try to learn something, and you're putting all this time in, and yet nothing is changing. No profits, just less time from your family. No new clients, just less time from your family. You're growing. There's cracks in your business because you're waiting for a change. And that's why burnout is knocking at the door, right? So we know that the hardest part of growth is usually when our next breakthrough is hiding. And here is the truth, my friends. As I've said before, growth is hard. It stretches you. It expands you. It humbles you. And sometimes it will even break your heart. But it also builds you up. It strengthens you. It clears the path for the life and business that you actually are meant and want to lead and deserve to lead. Next time growth feels heavy. Next time it feels heavy and you feel that uncertainty, and you feel lonely, and you feel like your back's against the wall, and that you should just chuck it all. All the years that you put in, all the blood, sweat, and tears, you're ready to just toss it aside. I want you to remember this. You're not doing it wrong. You're just growing. And on the other side of that is alignment. It's joy. And then a kind of impact that you can't even imagine yet for yourself, for your family, for your clients, for your community, for your industry, for your career, because you're going to find your purpose. And then you're going to be able to give some of your purpose away. And then you're going to have profits. And with that profit, you'll be able to do some more good for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your clients, for your industry. And all bundled up in that is joy, my friends. All bundled up in that is joy. So on the other side of what you might think is failing or burnout or just exhaustion, or feeling lost, the other side of that is the alignment of joy and impact and things you don't even know yet. Here's the challenge I want you to have this week. I want you to write down one area of your life or business where growth isn't stretching you right now. Okay? Write down one area of your life or business where growth isn't stretching you right now. Then I want you to ask yourself, what am I being called to release? And what am I being invited to rise into? What are you being called to release, my friends? And what are you being invited to rise into? Think about that. Tag me, Bobbi.Brinkman. Let me know your answer. Send me a text, send me a voicemail. All kinds of ways to do that here on the podcast. But share it on social media, Bobbi.Brinkman. Let me know. What are you being called to release? And what are you being invited to rise into? Because your story matters and your growth is unfolding exactly as it should. I want you to remember that. You're there and you're here for a reason. What is meant for you is meant for you, and it's going to come to you. And you are here to make an impact. You may not even know your full potential of your impact yet, but my friends, it's on the other side of that breakthrough. It's on the other side of that growth that you're experiencing. This is where I'll remind you that if you want weekly support, don't forget to sign up for the Be Fabbo weekly newsletter, where I share honest insights, mindset shifts, and momentum building tools for you to grow on purpose. So you see that in the show notes. You can grab that in the show notes. Sign up for that. Do me a favor too. If this podcast is bringing you some value, I'm working really hard like you. I'm trying to grow the podcast, especially now with my Parkinson's, and I'm probably going to be sitting more behind a mic instead of standing behind a mic on a stage. Although I'm not giving that up yet. I'm still pushing forward with that because I am called. I feel called to continue this mission. And I know that I had to release some things, but I also know I'm being invited to rise into others. So like you, I'm at growth stage and I'm pushing the envelopes and I'm looking to the other side of the breakthrough. So if this episode or any episodes brings you value, do me a favor, share it. Let people know about the podcast. Let people know about Motivated to Be Fabbo, the resources that we have, that I have created to help you grow and help you become the best version of yourself that you can become while you still love exactly who you are, where you are. Remember, my friends, that you are Fabbo, exactly as you are, who you are, doing what you're doing. You're not alone. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. I'm here to cheer you on. So go out there, continue to put in the work, continue to put in the time. You are making a change. You are making change. You may not see it in other people's lives. You may not see it in some of the things that you do. You may not even see it in yourself, but trust me, you are. You are on a breakthrough and you are growing. And I cannot wait to continue to support you. So stay safe, my friends. Stay Fabbo. And till next time, this is Bobbi and I'm signing off. Remember, you are Fabbo. Say it with me. I am Fabbo. I am Fabbo. All right, friends. Talk soon.